accept the blame for the last time we pushed this back.
Dear God, it's been like a month.
I'm so happy to see you guys.
Yeah, me too. Me
long
too.
time.
This is it's been real long, and it's partially my fault as well because I was on vacation twice. Who does that? Who goes on vacation twice?
Yeah, it's just
That's
insane. It's
privilege.
entirely Jordan.
Exactly. It is Tuesday, July 30th. It is Season 2, Episode 7 of The Bliss Point, a podcast and website serving up music, discussion, news, show analyses, and more. Before we begin, I would like to give a special shout out to Mr. Billy Gatewood.
What did I do?
He turned 30 over the weekend.
Oh, hey.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday, little guy.
Woo.
Happy birthday.
He's a real
Thanks
adult.
for inviting me back.
Of course. My name is Jordan Kaufman, and as you know, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Billy Gatewood.
Hello.
And Mr. Paul Kolb.
Hey,
My wife wrote in the show notes that she couldn't be here today because she wasn't invited, which is true. She was not invited. So,
it's pretty exclusionary. Do you have a way to explain that?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't have an excuse. Sorry. I'm a shitty human being. What can I say? And speaking of shitty human beings, let's get into what we've been listening to. And that encompasses the best, worst, good, noteworthy, mediocre, important, consequential, sometimes album-related shows, singles, and new releases of the week. Again, we don't have any shows. It's been a dead summer for me.
I
don't
know.
I don't know what's going on.
Same
My
here.
summer's about to heat up, though, because I think I have
Maybe
three
it's because you went on vacation twice.
True.
Last month.
I have 3 or 4, I think, in August. So it's going to be very good shows. I'm super stoked.
All the shows are in September.
Yes.
Worst possible time for me work-wise.
Yeah. We'll
So-
figure it out, though. I think most of them are on a Saturday, though. So
We'll get
figure it
through
out.
it.
We'll figure it
Yeah,
out.
fall's gearing up to be pretty hectic with shows.
Oh, yeah. I assume you have a bunch lined up
Oh,
already?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll need to convene because I think I probably need to go to some of those. So.
Yeah, we'll have to prioritize a list.
Alrighty. So first up, we have OCs. They get a new record coming out. Track is called Heartworm. Short, sweet, to the point, very raucous. What do you guys think?
I like that assessment.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to add other than it's really good.
Yeah, I think it's more OCs. I know, Billy, you didn't really like their last record that Paul and I loved, so
Yeah,
I'm curious to see what you liked about this one.
I like the single. I think for all the points that you just made, it is
Cool.
Wow.
Love it.
No, it is. I mean, they have a unique sound.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It is just more of that.
It is that if you're into it. This next one, just a quick little shout out. This group called Bobbing I found is like a cool math pop group, and they have a track called Shrugging Match. The record is out as well. Definitely give a shout to them. They're very neat and interesting.
It's okay.
It's okay. It's okay.
It'll do.
I don't know if it'll do.
This other track, YouTube algorithms has figured out that I like random indie things occasionally, and they bequeathed me Surf Curse. The track is called Disco. What did you guys think? It's the one with the
Yes,
mustache.
liked it. I
mustache
liked
guy.
it. Liked
Yeah,
it a lot.
into it.
Yeah,
Had some like turnover vibes a little bit. Like
Yeah.
not as shoegazy, I think, but
I mean, it's weird that it's in the name, but it is very surf rock.
yeah,
And
sure.
I guess
It's
that's what
got
they're
that
going
reverby,
for.
like kind of beachy tone to
Yeah.
it that I'm into. So, Mr. Postal Malloy himself, new track "Goodbyes" featuring Young Thug. It's more Post Malone if you're into pop trap or what one of you said hip hop singer, which I think is an accurate statement.
Yeah, that description seems like it's a child's description, but that's what he is to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, he doesn't get more apt than that, I don't think. I think he's really good on this track. I love the tracks where he shows off his vocal prowess. Like he does a lot of vibrato, and I think he sounds really good, even if it's got auto-tune on it. And I think Young Thug is really good on this track, too. New Bonobo, where are we at?
Didn't do anything for me.
It's more of the same.
Yeah.
I feel like
Paul, did you used to love Bonobo? Or have an affinity for at least the old stuff?
yeah, I mean that album that blew up, the one he
Sure.
went into isolation for,
Yes.
and everyone liked that.
Yeah.
It seemed like he was really hot. Everyone wanted to work with him. But I have a hard time saying anything bad about this one. I think if you really like him, it's more of the same.
Yes.
But it's nothing that would blow your socks off or make you think he's going in a new direction.
Yes, very true. I think that is accurate. New Wilco. I'm excited only because I love them. I think this track is pretty solid country rock-ish. Not so much country, I guess, but it's got Wilco elements. It's got weird guitar. It's got Jeff Tweedy's raspy vocals. So if you like Wilco and that checks the boxes for you, definitely check it out.
I do, and it does.
Good for
said
you.
Billy.
Good for you. Have you ever liked Wilco?
No.
Okay. I wonder if you would like their older stuff.
I could see why people like Wilco.
It doesn't seem like your type of music.
But this song just seemed uneventful and boring to
That's
me.
fair.
Like even for people that like Wilco, I'm surprised at you.
That's fair. What I'm saying is I'm a slave to Wilco,
Okay.
and I'll probably at
Gotcha.
least surface level like whatever they put out.
Gotcha.
This definitely isn't my favorite material
Okay.
that they put out, but
Okay.
yes.
This is Billy's favorite genre, though.
Oso. Speaking of Billy's favorite genres,
True.
Oso. Impossible Game. Guitars on this track, very interesting.
Pretty
very
sick.
cool.
Yeah, I like this track.
I think, and I would have to go back and listen to their debut, but I feel like the vocals have stepped it up. I feel like the vocals sound a lot
Definitely.
better, a lot less whiny, and I'm
Definitely.
into it.
Yeah.
More production, it's more money, it's what everybody needs.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
More money put into it, and
yes,
it shows
absolutely.
in a good way.
Future Teens, Frequent Choir, Crier. I think this is my song of the week for sure. Just like a cute little song. I mean, it's not really cute because it's about crying all the time.
No,
and,
it is. It's pretty
and
cute.
depression, but
it's pretty
the
cute.
video is adorable. And I think they have a lot of charm, and I'm very much looking forward to what they put out.
Yeah, that track's pretty
How would
rad.
you characterize the sound?
Did one of you say what they sound like?
No.
Because they remind me of a band. I think
Yeah, they do.
they're like cutesy emo indie rock kind of.
Yeah.
Like honest lyrics with like cool guitar, and there's a cool guitar solo towards the end. That's fun, and they're just a small little 4-piece, pretty simple music. But I think the whole when it comes together with the lyrics and everything, I think is pretty captivating.
Yeah.
From Indian Lakes, new track, No One Else. I love this band. I saw them live a few years ago when their like big record came out. And I fell in love with them and played it on a loop. And then their next record came out and it didn't really gel with me. I thought it was fine. And this track has me excited because it seems like they're going in a different direction.
Yeah, because he released a new song or two maybe like a year ago.
Okay.
And I was not into it at all.
Yeah.
And he was going in this weird direction. But this track seems at least more true to his style. It's
Yes.
not necessarily just like his older albums, but it's real solid.
Yeah, and I think like the vocalist is, well, I like the vocals a lot in that band. I didn't want to say that they're the best part of that band because the instrumentals are also very good.
Yeah.
But I do think this track shines a light on his vocals.
Having seen them recently when they opened for Copeland, I wonder if they're going for a sound that's more applicable live.
Sure.
Because they had so much synth and electronica in their older albums.
Yes, they did.
That it didn't quite come off as well live. So I'm
Yeah, they were
wondering
pretty
if-
lush on
Yeah.
previous records.
So
yeah.
I wonder if they're going for a more realistic sound that they can replicate live.
Sure, that makes sense. New Charli XCX featuring, or technically the YouTube video says Charli XCX and Christina and the Queens. The track is called Gone. Just a solid
Real good.
80s pop track. Just incredible production.
Yeah.
And I like her a lot. I keep finding myself enjoying her stuff. So
I know we talked about this earlier, but you two explain to me what you see in her. Like, what am I missing in terms of that's a pop singer?
yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. Like at surface level, I think she's not the most interesting personality to grace the radio. I think her production is particularly unique, and who she uses behind the boards is interesting and very different.
Yeah. Well, I think
She doesn't use 30 songwriters in a booth like say a Taylor Swift or the Jonas Brothers do. I think she keeps it pretty minimum. Even though her sound is bombastic and sounds like multi-million dollars, I don't think it's that songwriter intensive.
Yeah, I like and respect that she's willing to take risks outside of just like the mainstream pop sound. I think she's willing to try some new things, and it pays off. And I think she's got a really cool sound, and
I think so. Did this track not stand out to you either?
No, not really.
Okay.
But
That's fair.
now that I have your assessment of it, I can kind of look at it a little bit differently.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll revisit when her new record comes out
Yeah.
because I'm very much looking forward to it. Number 12 Looks Like You, Ruin the Smile. was not into them in high school. I think this is their first track in like 12 years or something like that. So it's been a long time. But this is this song rips. It's real good. It's real
pretty
heavy.
metal.
Yeah, it's very metal. It's very modern metal. It feels very mathy, very abstract and kind of dissonant, and I'm into it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely listened to them in high school, but I couldn't tell you exactly what their sound was.
I wouldn't be
I'm not
surprised
sure if this is close to it or not.
Sure.
I just remember them being heavy, but this track's pretty solid.
Yeah, very good. Bonobo. We'll always look into some new Bonobo, regardless of whether I'm disappointed or not. And this track is very good. This reminds me of North Borders, which is one of my favorite records by him, and it's just more good Bonobo. If you're into that like up tempo, like very live instrumentation focused, I think he's your guy.
There's no bad Bonobo.
That's a fact. I think
Disagree
that's
with
true.
me, I'll fight you.
No, I think that's true. DIIV. Billy, not a big fan of this new track, Skin Game.
Not a big fan.
What didn't you like?
It was a little boring.
Okay, fair enough.
Didn't do it for me. Vocals were real boring, and
I think the vocals are the only thing for me that are lacking.
Yeah.
It's kind of one note.
it starts off pretty promising.
I like the guitars a lot.
Yeah,
on
the
this
guitars
track.
are cool. It's just, the vocals are really ruining it for me
Yes.
all around.
That's fair. Car Bomb,
Very confused.
Scattered Sprites. Why were you confused?
I just didn't know what was happening.
Oh, yes.
I didn't know what was
Yes.
going on.
Mr. Paul, you
Is
like
that the
this?
metal track?
This is the one with the clean vocals.
So good until the clean vocals
Yes.
kick in.
Yeah, I was super stoked that we were going to get an era of weird mathy Meshuggah type metal that doesn't have clean vocals in it, and then the clean vocals kick in and I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're terrible. I just think they take away from the track. But that fucking
Whatever effects or
bass or
synth they're
something.
using is wild.
Yeah. It's so good. I love this next track. I didn't really get where you guys were on it, but track is called The Cleaner by a band called Squid. It's really weird, like 80s LCD sound system kind of pop rock alternative. It's kind of out there.
I couldn't tell you much beyond beyond just I like it.
The bass was really good. I really like the bass on it a lot. Super funky and just very, very different. So I'm looking forward to that record. And this last one is, I think, a surprise for all of us, even if all of us didn't love it. New Taylor Swift, The Archer. I know, shocker.
Nice, authentic reaction, Paul.
It is, of the 3 singles that she's put out, by far the best, at least for me. It reminds me the most of 1989, which is probably why I'm partial to it.
Mm-hmm.
But Billy, as someone who advocated for this to be on the list, what'd you think?
And was alive in 1989.
He was.
True.
That is true. That is very true.
No, yeah, like you said, this is, in my opinion, her best song since then.
And you haven't liked anything by her in a long time. Probably since 1989?
Probably since 1989,
Okay.
I haven't liked anything. But this song, I know.
Even the old country tracks.
Out of context, that's a great statement. I haven't liked anything
I haven't
since 1989.
I mean,
Yeah, it's not entirely
30
wrong.
years.
Yeah.
And, can't
No
quite
wonder
name
you're hard to
something.
please.
That's true. It's very true.
But yeah, it's just a solid. What I liked about it is you expect it to build up the whole time,
Yes.
and it never really does. It's just kind of straightforward, which was a nice surprise. It wasn't as predictable as some of her other things. And
I'm a fan of Taylor Swift subverting expectations.
Yeah.
Make me want to like you.
Yeah.
Give me something. Give me anything.
the vocals are so lush, just like
It's
they're
not
so
bad.
clean.
It's got a really nice uplifting sound, the single. It's just, there's no risk to it or anything.
That's fair. Totally fair. So we will see. I don't know when her record's out. I assume soon. All right, let's get into shout-outs. Run down mine real quick. Tears of Joy by Mike is an excellent lo-fi hip-hop record. Reminds me a lot of Earl Sweatshirt's last record. It's pretty breezy. It's got some weird kind of left field hip-hop beats and just really good lo-fi production to it. All of God's Money by a bunch of different people. It's a Wilco cover record. And they got a bunch of different indie artists to cover Yankee Hotel Foxtrot, which is their best record, in my opinion. And in this record and the one that I'm about to tell you about, the thing that gets me to like a cover record is when I find songs that I genuinely like as much as the originals, if not more. And this record does have a few on there. Same thing with Tiny Changes, which is a Frightened Rabbit covered record, covering the Midnight Organ Fight, which is, in my opinion, also their best record. And the Poke cover by Daughter in particular is very, very good. Andy Hall from Manchester Orchestra does a cover of Backwards Walk, which is one of my favorite songs by them and is just super haunting. I think Andy does a really good job. And Ben Gibbard is even on the album too, and I think he does justice to one of their songs. So if you like Wilco or Frightened Rabbit in any capacity, I advise you check those out.
Frightened Rabbit's such a hip artist to cover right now.
Yeah, they're real in. People are high on the Frightened Rabbit. I think Scott's death really affected a lot of people. And I think, at least for me, hearing the buzz about the band made me really delve into them and find out what was so much I was missing about them. And yeah, I was missing a lot, apparently. So, Billy, tell us about Tuxedo.
Yeah.
It's Mayor Hawthorne, right?
Yeah, so Tuxedo is Mayor Hawthorne and Jake One. Jake One's a hip-hop producer. Mayor Hawthorne, R&B kind of singer-songwriter. If you haven't heard Tuxedo, just think straight-up funk music. Very much in the same vein as Chromeo.
I think they're real fun.
They're so good.
That single that you shared with us a couple weeks ago was fun.
Yeah, and the whole album's just that solid.
Yeah.
And this is they're just pumping out records like crazy, and it's just flawless funk and real good feature from MF Doom, which I think Paul should check out.
Okay.
I don't like MF Doom.
I don't care.
Shut up, you idiot.
I quit.
I'm surprised they got an MF Doom feature.
Yeah, they've got a couple cool features.
Holy shit.
So,
okay. I'll have
Are
to
you
check
sure
that
it's the real MF Doom and
Yeah,
not someone in a costume?
I wouldn't be able to tell you one way or the other.
Oh, man, that'd be great. If he sent an imposter to do his feature for him. That's pretty great.
But yeah, it's just a solid funk album. And it's something, I mean, we've been off for a month or whatever, and making this list between shout-outs and new releases and album of the week was really tough.
Yeah.
So even these shout-outs any other week without any other competition could have easily been new releases or album of the week. They're all just that good.
Yeah, I like it. Modern Mirror by Drab Majesty. You also brought this one.
I mean, who doesn't like a little tragic wave in their life?
A lot of people don't even know what that is, Billy.
Sure. That's what I wanted it to be. I really wanted it to be. And that opening track, was it the dialogue? Is awesome. I was like, holy shit! Like I could totally get down with some like '80s dark, like real emo shit from the '80s with heavy synths and ridiculous guitars.
Yeah.
And like the most ridiculous MIDI ass drums I've ever heard on a record. I couldn't get into it.
What didn't you like about it? I'm curious.
The rest of the record was nothing like the dialogue.
Really?
The second track in there
it has a very 90s chorus that I kind of hate.
I don't like the I think it's very generic 80s pop. They do a lot of that, and they do it very well. Don't get me wrong. I think I was meeting some backlash, some implicit backlash, because the forum that I found it on, everyone was like, "Holy shit, this is my album of the year! Like, this is incredible!" And I was like, "It's like."
But then, like the third track hits Ellipsis,
it's like good 80s pop.
So good.
It's fine. It's fine.
Interesting. Okay.
I was almost there. You almost had me. You almost had me like an 80s pop record.
Almost.
We'll get there.
Okay. One day.
Dopamine by Mountain Mover.
Yeah.
Feeling that Casey.
Stealing the words right out of my mouth. We've talked about Casey a lot on this. Casey was.
We're on our album
Moose Graves for the listeners.
What's that?
Absolutely not Casey Musgraves.
No.
Yeah, just Casey.
Yeah, do you remember the Stickwork album from last year?
It's coming back to me slowly.
The hardcore and clean.
The ones from the
vocals
UK that decided to break up before they ever toured here.
Yes, Billy was very upset.
I was very upset.
Just because they knew Billy would attend.
Yeah.
Probably, and who wants me to be anywhere in the same
bandana guy.
Bandana guy.
Bandana guy.
I know. I hate myself. But this feels that vibe. Feels the vibe in the sense that like the first track, may or may not be a straight ripoff of a
Oh,
track
it feels
from Kate.
almost exactly
It's
like
the exact
Casey.
same chord progression. But nonetheless, it feels that kind of heavy hitting, real emo vibe that I need in my life.
Fact. It's this next one, Branded Banks by Maxo Cream. I'm glad you brought this.
What did you
This is
think?
It's surprising that you brought this.
Thank you.
I agree with your assessment about the storytelling. I
Yes.
think the storytelling is the most compelling thing about this record.
Yeah,
a
it's
lot
just-
of shit about living in the ghetto and people staying in the ghetto, and like a lot of shit about his father and his family, and like even though he kind of hates his dad, he loves him and is thankful for him, and just a lot of good content there.
Yes.
I think he's one of the most boring rappers.
What?
I think he's one of the most boring rappers.
What just happened? I
just
was
got
feeling
fucked.
so good.
I had to get you with the
Oh
one
my
too.
god.
I don't like his. I think his flow is super stagnant most of the time.
I mean, I know he's not anything great, but he's not boring.
I think he's boring.
Oh my god.
It's the only reason I don't like the record. Everything else about the record I
really?
love.
I love how hard Billy's taking this. This is delicious.
I
love
was
it.
really excited for this one.
Which is hilarious because you shit all over any other rap record that I bring to the table.
yeah, because they're all garbage.
Whoa.
But this this is it for the reasons you said. It's just refreshing.
Yes.
In the sense that it seems like a very honest, realistic portrayal and storytelling of somebody's true life.
Yes.
It's very autobiographical and it's not trying to be any part of this new hip hop culture that's just over the top and
Yeah,
just-
it's very real. Like from what I've heard of him, I was expecting something pretty generic, but
Yeah.
it was not that at all.
Yeah.
And it's getting a lot of praise, which I think is awesome.
Cool.
It came off meaner than I had actually intended. I like this record. It wasn't there. It wasn't there.
okay.
So
And even the production. I mean, nothing is gonna blow you away about it as far as production and maybe technique and style and
Sure.
everything. But it just captures a really good.
he's
really
got
good
the whole
vibe.
package. He's got the whole package.
Yeah.
And Mr. Paul, do you want to tell us about this new Big Crit record?
I can really identify with what Billy was saying about substance and hip hop because, you caught me in a weird mood today. I decided to bring some trap shit.
Yeah, you did.
Big Crit. It's got a new album out. KRIT is with a hard Z is here.
I hate that album title so much.
So stupid.
Especially when you know that his KRIT stands for King Remembered in Time. So the album title makes no sense whatsoever. But anyways, continue.
Yeah, that's the main takeaway here.
Yes, continue.
But honestly, it's just I was enjoying it. It's a fun time. It's like very much turn on, have a cookout
Yes.
kind of a vibe. Like very good for summer. It's not going to be in your constant rotation of this is greatest hip hop album ever, but I think it's worth a shout out. It's worth checking out. I don't have any specific track names for you, but we'll put a few good ones on the playlist.
Yes, if you like that southern rap sound, definitely.
It is enjoyable.
It is.
I've listened to it a couple times and it's just
It's
you
not like outright terrible or
I
like
know.
something you would hate.
I've been
It's
avoiding
solid.
a lot of trap music like the plague for a while, and I think because of that, I can come back to it and sort of tolerate the machine gun snare sound.
Yes.
So
Absolutely. And that concludes our shout outs. So let's jump into our new releases. Billy, you want to introduce what you brought?
Well, what I brought was again, I changed this literally right before we started. It was going to be my album of the week, but Sun Sleeper is the band. You can't miss something. You can miss something and not want it back. I should know the title of these things.
That's a mouthful. I'm not going to blame you there. So,
Again, so debut album. I believe they're from like Salt Lake City.
okay.
Basic emo rock, but this album kind of dives back into the early 2000s emo.
Sure.
You'll listen to Souvenir and maybe get some vibes of Boy Who Blocked His Own Shot by Brand New.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Same thing with Casual Mistakes, has some like Jesse Lacey type vibes, and it takes a lot of the best elements of like early 2000s emo and brings it to a new era, and I really enjoyed it. I thought for a debut album, it's a super solid emo album.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty good. I think when we talked about it initially, you were a little disappointed that I didn't love it.
I was.
But I think it was like a halfway movements for me. Like movements is a weird case of where like I didn't really like the vocals, but listening to them enough really got me to appreciate the vocals.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't do it with Sun Sleeper. I don't know why.
Okay.
I think the guitar is pretty good. I think everything else about the band is pretty good. Just the vocals aren't doing
Which
it
is
for
so
me.
wild.
I
'Cause the
don't know
vocals,
why.
I
Couldn't tell you
I mean,
why.
I'm very much the same way where I couldn't explain to you why. But for me, like, these are just quintessential, like, emo vocals.
Yeah.
They're, like, clean.
Yes.
But,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, they're not overly whiny or anything.
No, yeah.
So, I don't know.
I only like them whiny.
Yeah, me too. This next one, Weather by Tycho. I was so excited for this track based on the teaser Easy we heard a couple months ago.
Yep.
It's just like super upbeat, but his cool, like lush down-tempo style was really nice. And I think most of the actually, no, sorry, not most of the record. 3 songs on the record are amazing, and they're the ones that don't have a vocalist on them. And it's the weirdest choice in the world. He picked one vocalist to feature on the whole record, and she's on more than half of the record, and she's the most bland, generic, like electronica female vocalist
Yikes.
I've heard in a while.
Yikes.
I'm sorry, man. She killed all of those tracks because instrumentally I think they're very good. She's just writing about like random, like sappy I love you shit that is seen on any top 40 electronic song, I think. And it's wild to me that he needed to do that on 4 tracks it's a 7-track album. Like, it's super short, maybe 8. Like, I don't know why you needed that for the more than half of it.
Yeah, I think it's 8 tracks, and she's on 5 of them.
Yeah, it was a weird choice to me.
And you're 100% right. As harsh as it is, like, she's just not good on it.
This is fact.
And you can tell in the quality of the songs that he's writing that he's toning it down for vocals
Absolutely.
and for her.
Yes.
You listen to that first track, the first track is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
It's just such a banger, no vocals. It's technical and it's got all these elements to it. But you don't get that on any track that she sings on. They're all very basic, very simple songwriting.
He's making room for those vocals, whereas
Right.
otherwise he'd be doing cool. Like, he does a lot of live instrumentation too, which
Yeah.
I love, and it's just other than like the cool drum production, which is everywhere on this thing.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
the song structure is just very basic and simple, and
Yeah.
it's just not what you want from a Tycho album.
For sure.
Like,
Absolutely.
maybe if it wasn't him, I'd have a little bit more leeway and think it was a little better, because it's not necessarily bad, but it's just not what it's not what I want from him.
Yeah, I listen to it on repeat because it's good. It's really good background music.
Yes.
But it's not anything I would put on a list or anything.
Yeah.
So my favorite tracks were Easy, Into the Woods, and Weather, which are the 3 that didn't have vocals on them. And if you're into Emancipator, Boards of Canada, or L1011, definitely check out Tycho. All right, let's jump into Album of the Week. Very excited for these. Mr. Billy, do you want to introduce your album?
Sure. So my album of the week is from a band that I've liked for a really long time, and I've always been really into them. And I was very excited for this. I couldn't tell you exactly when their last album came out, but it's been a solid few years, and I had really high expectations, and my expectations were definitely met.
Nice. Good for you.
It's Holy Ghost work. It's just they stay true to their kind of like new disco, electronica, funk sound, without being too over the top or gimmicky.
The instrumentals on this record, in particular, I love.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they just had an instrumental version.
Oh, I love his vocals.
I don't really like his vocals.
It's just the right because again, like for me, like his vocals are just the right amount of like kind of emo-ish.
Sure.
Like they have that.
They have
element
like
to
a
them.
midnight quality to
Oh,
them.
yeah.
Why are the vocals always so divisive?
I'm super picky.
Why don't you like good vocals? I just don't
why don't you
understand
I like
it.
plenty of good vocals.
You-
I also like plenty of weird vocals that nobody else likes.
Yeah.
So continue.
But it's I thought it was a really good follow up and a really good maybe kind of comeback album, and I really appreciate them because they do produce their own stuff, and it's majority like analog, production, which
Okay,
is
that's
really cool, and that's why their sound quality is so good. It kind of has that like LCD sound system vibe.
I think they're, to me, if you're not into LCD, if they're like a little too talking heads.
Yeah.
And this is, sorry if this comes across as mean, but I think they're like baby's first LCD. Like, I think they'll get you most of the way there, but they have more poppiness to them.
Yeah,
but they have a lot of the same like 80s and 70s like analog kind of stuff going on.
Yeah.
That keeps them interesting and different, I think.
So, they originally had Sun Sleeper as my album of the week because I had not heard of them before, and I was just so impressed with their debut album. And I had Holy Ghost as my new release just because I expected it to be good.
Sure.
And it was good. But when I really thought about it, Holy Ghost is
it's going to stick with you more.
Incredible. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Well, thank you.
No, thank you.
My album of the week is no surprise to anyone. At least I hope not. It is
Not
Bandana.
to me.
Bandana by Mr. Freddie Gibbs and the legend Ari Madlib. And if you liked Pinata, I would say that this album is as good as Pinata. It is more of that style. It's got the characteristic Madlib production with like the really cool chopped up samples, and he's even doing some new stuff. He does a trap track on here, which is very good and very surprising, I think. Shaking your fucking head over there. I know what you're gonna say. I think this is a banner hip hop record for this year, and I think if you're into hip hop, even a smidge, you should listen to this record because you're going to hear what a straightforward, nearly perfect hip hop record sounds like in the modern era, without your boring ass flows, Maxo Cream. Hear me, you, god damn it. And also, I do commend Maxo Cream for having very few features, which this album also has very few features, but the features are better because how can you argue with fucking Black Thought and Mos Def / Yasin Bey on the same fucking track? And we have another track with Killer Mike doing a fucking hook and Pusha T doing a verse. And Freddie Gibbs isn't even the worst one on the track. It's incredible. This album is so good. Don't listen to whatever Billy's about to say into the microphone because he's totally fucking wrong. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Maxo Cream sounds like a Scottish cookie company. That's all Billy needs to know.
Oh, that's great. That's really good.
What a terrible album to take such a strong stance on.
You're so wrong.
Oh
You're
my
so
God.
fucking wrong.
Well,
You're the worst. You're the absolute worst. And to get us away from this travesty that is Billy shitting all over my hip hop records, favorite tracks: Palm Olive, Cataracts, Situations. Mr. Paul, you want to give us an intro into what you're into?
Hey, I'll give you a prime example of why I don't just read off the teleprompter mindlessly, because Penelope Isles, or as your Mrs. Kaufman might say, Penelope Isles.
Hell yeah.
The album is called Until the Tide Creeps In, Mr. Kaufman.
Oh,
There's even
shit.
a picture of beach on the album cover.
Shit.
So, I mean,
up.
he's trying to sabotage me.
Sorry,
and
guys. Sorry,
It's
guys.
just becoming slowly apparent.
He wrote the Sun Sleeper title wrong, too. That's why I
Shit.
fumbled all my words.
Shit. Sorry,
But,
guys.
the beach theme is really fitting for this group. I think, in the simplest terms, it's just a solid indie rock album.
That's fair.
As with the vocals we're always talking about, I think some of the male vocals on that album took me a little while to warm up to a little bit. Sometimes there's it gets a little too crazy with the reverb, a little bit too much of that, somebody singing into a megaphone, into a gutter sound.
Yes.
But it's also some of that charm that I think a lot of us like about indie rock. At the end of the day, really like some of the composition, like the instrumentation, and I think the songs work really well.
It's a really good songwriting on this record. Very different, too, from what I'm used to hearing of like this type of genre.
There's so many aspects of their sound that sound very familiar and comforting to me, but I can't put my finger on who they sound like.
Yes, absolutely. And totally on the money with the instrumentals. I think that like the fuzzy guitar on this whole thing is just like perfectly done, like not overbearing and just enough of like a wall of sound to make it sound cool. So
Exactly. But definitely worth checking out. Don't have any specific tracks, but it's not an overly long album.
no,
I would say, jump in anywhere.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you all for coming. Even if Billy has the wrong opinions about the wrong albums. But if you're curious about the singles and albums we talked about today, there will be a playlist
keep inviting
up
me
on the
back.
site
It's a matter of public
containing
record
all
now.
the singles and the best tracks from this week's albums. It wouldn't be interesting if everyone just agreed with each other all the time. So I appreciate you being here and having the wrong opinion.
I think we're
Somebody
starting
with
something here.
good taste has to come in.
Oh, here it is. Here it is. He turns 30. He thinks he's hot shit. Check us out on all the
You're
places.
out of touch, Grandpa.
Like, subscribe, follow, smash the like, whatever, smash the bell, whatever it is. Visit us on bliss.house for more content. And thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Visit bliss.house, bliss.hus. Thanks.
HOS.
It's HOUS. It's actually not HOA. It's HAUS, bliss.HAUS,
Hey,
bliss.house.
he would never pick on you.
I'm sorry. You did great. You're fantastic. I love you.